Uh, Good afternoon, all of you. Hope you are doing well. It's a pleasure being here today, and I hope we have a good session about scaling DevOps using AIOps. Before I start, I would like to introduce myself. My name is David Masiha. I'm a DevOps engineer at Cegedim. Today's agenda will be we're talking about the current problem that we have in organizations, AIOps from the monitoring perspective, applying artificial intelligence and machine learning to the CI/CD, and conclusion. Then I have a small quiz, which I would like to all of you to participate in the end. Thank you, and let us start. First of all, as organizations, we need to innovate faster. And for this, DevOps is critical to meet the rising pressure to innovate faster. Because today, organizations are under pressure. They want to deliver faster innovation with speed, quality, and reliability. DevOps practices are becoming increasingly critical and essential. Although nowadays there's a great progress in applying best practices using DevOps across applications, but there still remains a problem. We need to scale these efforts to meet the software development lifecycle with maximum speed, quality, and reliability. Reducing friction. DevOps teams are held back by siloed and often conflicting data insights, as well as time-intensive and manual CI/CD processes. But what I mean by silo is that we are kept in isolation in a way that hinders the communication and cooperation. This causes heavy reliance on human intervention at stages of delivery, QA, incident response, etc. This causes as well the DevOps teams to be more reactive than proactive. And this reduces the time they have for more valuable tasks. Today, DevOps leaders are investing in different areas, like to modernize the tool stacks, to eliminate manual incident response, automation of the manual processes in the CI/CD tasks, end-to-end observability, and AIOps-driven decision-making capabilities. We need a unified tool chain to get our success. There is an increased prevalence of DevOps and continued adoption of cloud-based services, which resulted in a complex and fragmented tool chains across the software development lifecycle. DevOps teams' ability are hindered to work more effectively. We need to unify a tool chain to provide more intuitive solutions that allow teams to perform key tasks easily. As a result, this will shorten the development cycles and release faster. The DevOps leaders as well in the the quality of software releases, they are investigating and investing in the CI/CD automation and testing as a service and test automation and the AIOps-driven root cause analysis, as well as the testing security earlier in the development cycle. What is AIOps? AIOps, it's a buzzword that recently has shown up. AIOps, it consists of the DevOps practices, machine learning, big data. What do I mean by the DevOps? The DevOps that we use in building our CI/CD pipelines, and the machine learning, and the two factors or two flavors that they have, the supervised and the unsupervised, and the big data, because we have data in petabytes and more. We need to analyze all this data to train our algorithms, AI algorithms and machine learning algorithms, as well as the models. We need AIOps. So we need AIOps to satisfy the growing list of responsibilities and the more demands. This is causing pressure on DevOps, which yields to trade-off. DevOps, do you want me to give you a quality, but I cannot meet the deadline, or you want me to deliver and meet the deadline, but with low quality? So we need a new approach to software delivery that meets the speed and quality. This approach must augment the DevOps teams with the AI and the continuous automation capabilities. These capabilities will enable speed secure release cycles with greater confidence and less risk. We have challenges. I'll talk about two challenges. Challenge number one, it's about the monitoring. There's a complexity and in modern applications and tooling. From the monitoring challenges, there's a complexity in the application architecture. And there's leading gaps in the monitoring tools. From the operational challenges, we have the CI/CD, the microservices, and observability also increase in the tool complexity. How to deal with these interactions? Now, we go for the challenge number two. There's the root cause analysis, which is by default a reactive. I'll explain more in details. Businesses rely on root cause analysis. Today, we focus on the root cause analysis. Once they discover the problem, not to intercept before it impacts the business. We monitor the problems using our monitoring tools, regardless of which tools we use. We try to wait for an incident to happen, and then we go to remediate that incident. But we'll go for the solutions and we'll see it. So monitoring is by definition, it is a reactive process. The fastest root cause analysis, it is still reactive because it happens when an incident happens. And even to focus on minimizing the mean time to repair an incident, it will never prevent an incident, but it will have lesser incidents that may occur in the future. But at the end, we still may have an incident. They can minimize it, but they cannot prohibit from an incident to happen. Today's tools. What tools do we use today to solve these problems? Proactive solutions, even they are best solutions and used in the best practices, and we have a good alerting system and good remediation solutions, but in the end, they are still reactive. We are waiting for an incident to take place, and then we try to solve it. So today we use what? We use isolated monitoring and observability data, which yields to software as a service. We monitor, we put our threshold-based alerting. In the observability, we gather the data for debugging, troubleshooting, and profiling. What's next? We wait for the incident to happen in order to solve the problem. Old approach that we are using today, majority, reactive. An incident takes place, we begin the investigation to troubleshoot, and we have these calls, we call the DBA, we call the developers, we interact all the teams together with the QA to solve this incident, okay? And we try to solve it, much of our times, we try to solve the problem without knowing the root cause analysis of it. So this is how we are being reactive to an incident that takes place. The new approach is that we need to be predictive. And here comes the need of AIOps. In AIOps, I don't do this. I don't interfere. I automatically pinpoint and watch the root causes. And after the training the models and the algorithms, it will predict the incidents. As much as I feed new data, it will predict more and more the incidents, and it will remediate before incident happens. And this means no incident, and we are all happy. Solution, monitoring. AIOps filters and correlates the meaningful data into incidents. This prevents alert storms coming from the domino effect. This is the system failure that we may receive from our alerting system, but by using AIOps, we receive this lovely message that it is resolved without interfering in solving the problem. Solution number two, the root cause analysis. We need to identify the root cause analysis by, once alerted, DevOps is presented to the top suspected causes and evidence leading to AIOps conclusions. This builds a trust between the AI engine and the DevOps. For why? Because it provides us feedback and enables the AI engine to learn from human expertise. Now, we come to the applying artificial intelligence, machine learning to the CI/CD pipelines. Why do you want to apply AI or machine learning to CD? And how can you actually apply? We'll thus discuss this thoroughly. As DevOps, we have this typical deployment pipeline. We have our code from the source code repository. We test, then we build our Docker image, and then we deploy. This is the typical traditional way of creating basic pipeline. Now, typical deployment with the machine learning, we introduce 4 new factors. We introduce the data, the accelerators, the train step, and the refitting. I'll discuss this in details. The data, we feed data, okay, to the initial stage in order to be tested. And then we put the GPU, this is a graphic processing, in order to accelerate our training, okay? And we train the models and we train the algorithms, and then once the decision has been made, we go for the deployment. So why do we need this GPU? And because the training, it takes a lot of time. We need an accelerator in order to do this in a very fast way. Then after we deploy, the cycle does not finish here. It's not a linear, it is a cycle. This cycle is called refitting. Refitting means that now after the deployment takes place, there's a new data and observations that go back to the data to be fed again into the new data. And again, the pipeline goes in a linear way until this cycle is finished and is complete. We have 2 ways or 2 flavors of machine learning, which is the supervised and the unsupervised. The supervised means humans train artificial intelligence, machine learning algorithms and models. The unsupervised is where algorithms and their models can infer meaning and relationships from the data on their own. This means that it acts solely without any human intervention. But the supervised is more accurate, but requires extensive training and maintenance. The unsupervised is less accurate, but is fast. It is to us to choose whether we want the supervised or unsupervised. Now, the smart automated deployments and rollbacks. Once we are using machine learning, it will soon become the new norm when applying to our CI/CD pipelines. If it used to take with us 60 minutes to manually, now it can be done in 2 to 3 minutes using the machines. We can easily take this intelligence one step further and to start to do new things with it, like automate deployments and rollbacks without getting into the manual processes anymore. This leads to a truly automated deployment pipeline that can deploy, verify, and recover from any impediments or any failures that can be observed. Now, we have challenges of AIOps to DevOps. Due to many benefits of AIOps, it is transforming the roles and responsibilities of IT teams. Employees see this as a threat, and they believe that it may lead to their being reinstated or losing their job. But I can tell you something. A proper understanding of AIOps is required to automate operations successfully, because mostly organizations will use the supervised model of the machine learning to lesser dependence on the unsupervised. Some tools automate most of the tasks, but it's not completely autonomous. So there's a need for a person who fully understands its operation is definitely needed in an organization. Now, this is the quiz. I came to an end, and I hope to have your questions ready if you have any questions to ask. So, who do you think will win, the machines or humans? To me, there must be a communication between both of us in order to reach the optimum solution that all the organizations look for. Thank you, and thank you for your time for this session. I'm ready for any questions that you have in the chat. Well, what is the relation between DevOps and machine learning? Well, machine learning and DevOps, they correlate to each other. We can use machine learning for better DevOps CI/CD pipelines, and in order to get the new data and the observations that we take from the initial one, previous deployment, and to feed the data back in order to make better deployment and better deployment decisions.